Welcome to the Three Martini Lunch. Grab a stool next to Greg Columbus of Radio America and Jim Garrity of National Review. Three Martinis coming up.
Hey, glad you're with us for the special Black Friday edition of the Three Martini Lunch. We trust you had a wonderful Thanksgiving yesterday, and as is tradition, of course, the day after Thanksgiving, considered to be one of the busiest Christmas shopping days of the year. And so, Jim, we're in the spirit of the season, of course, but always with a little bit of a political twist. So we are going to announce the gifts we would like to give to political figures to help them along, or perhaps in response to what they've done this year as part of our generosity during this holiday season. So some gifts are just genuinely nice. Some are comical. Some are practical. I know there was the one year I gave Ebola to ISIS. I don't think I've done anything quite as sinister this year. But, you know, I don't want to give anything away. So, I'm not going to promise that yet. So we're brought to you today by Coastal. Coastal.com/martini is where you want to go. We'll talk about them in just a moment. Jim, who's your first gift recipient and what are they getting?
Well, for all those listeners who can remember all the way back to Wednesday, I made a reference to the New York and California elections not being complete. As of this recording, they are not. And, look, we're well past Election Day. This is kind of ridiculous. Every other one where there's any lack of resolution, it's been understandable. That House race in Iowa that went down to like a handful of votes and they had to do a recount. That makes sense. Georgia, it's got runoffs. Louisiana has a House runoff. But New York, California, you really don't have an excuse, even though you're very highly populated. Texas has a lot of people. They sorted it all out fast. Florida has a lot of people. They sorted it out fast. Think about it. Florida, they used to be a synonym for electoral incompetence. So for every election official in the state of New York and California, I'm getting them old-fashioned adding machines for the holidays. Now, but the good news is, they're probably the old-fashioned ones. They're rolls of paper, and they're noisy and all that kind of stuff, and they print it out and you tear it off. You think, well, isn't it a little old-fashioned, Jim? And yes, it is, because this way the Venezuelans can't hack them. There's no software. There's nothing fancy and complicated. If you need to, you can go to the whiteboards and the black and chalk blackboards and stuff like that. But this is the old-fashioned way. You can get one of those green visors and add up all the numbers, and that way you can count your votes faster. If not that, Greg, I'm going to have to get them an abacus.
I was going to say, you're really going into the modern times now because you're not doing the abacus or tally marks or anything like that. So, get on the stick, New York. I mean, New York's got lots of problems in a number of different ways, but you've got enough issues with your governor and the mayor of your largest city. You should be able to count votes, at least, for heaven's sake. All right, Jim, as of this recording, it seems highly likely that Joe Biden will be the 46th president of the United States. And one of the things we also talked about, which was kind of odd in that he picked Kamala Harris to be his running mate, is that usually the person who is selected as the vice presidential nominee is someone who is not going to be seeking the spotlight. They're going to pretty much carry the water for the president. They're a less prominent personality. I mean, who else but Mike Pence could have done the job nearly as well over the past 4 years? But even over the years, George Bush for Ronald Reagan, Gore was certainly a less charismatic person than Bill Clinton. Dick Cheney, obviously, not a whirling dervish of raw political charisma, but effective on the job. So that's why Harris was an odd choice. And I'm being a bit hyperbolic here, probably extensively hyperbolic, but I wanted to initially hire Joe Biden a food taster just to make sure that he was going to, make it as long as possible because we didn't want Biden, but I think he's probably a better choice than Harris. But you never know if the food taster can be compromised. So I want to get him a Keurig and a lifetime supply, or at least a 4-year supply of frozen dinners, so that way he can make everything he needs to consume himself. So I don't think Kamala Harris is that sinister, but, Joe Biden, just be careful.
You notice I'm not jumping in outrage. It's besmearing the good name of Kamala Harris there, Greg. Excellent selection. I think, the president-elect will appreciate that a great deal.
So, Jim, I'm not trying to be harsh here. Just trying to see clearly that Kamala Harris is fairly ambitious, but hopefully not diabolical. But if you do want to see clearly, Coastal can help you out with that. And if you want to buy glasses online, but you're worried about how they'll actually look, Coastal is the best place to go. Why do so many pairs of glasses look totally different on the shelf than actually on your face? It's hard enough at the actual store or the doctor's office for your optometrist. Can you really do it online? Yeah, you can, because Coastal makes it so easy. You can browse and try on hundreds of frames virtually without ever having to leave your couch.
At Coastal.com, you can get prescription glasses starting at $9 with free shipping and 30-day risk-free returns. Plus, they have the most advanced virtual try-on technology that you will find anywhere. Turn your frames into sunglasses by testing out colored lens tints, or finally see what a cat eye or aviator would really look like on your face right on your phone. With Coastal, you don't have to spend hours at the store or hundreds of dollars to get a new style. Just go to Coastal.com, pick the frames you want, enter your prescription details, and your glasses will arrive to you in just a few days.
You think Joe Biden just sits on Coastal and tries on the aviators over and over and over again since he loves the aviators so much? So.
Very plausible, yeah. Do you have this darker? Do you have it even darker? Come on, man.
I just want to picture myself taking them off real dramatically, like I'm on the deck of the aircraft carrier in Top Gun. But yeah, I mean, Coastal, I've had a chance to try this out. And you think, really, can you get a good idea looking on your own computer camera whether these glasses are going to look good on you? Yeah, I certainly got that experience. Walked through the selection of the different frames, tried them on, found a pair that I liked, went through the other steps, and they have a bunch of people that can help you along the way. Coastal has over 2,000 frames to choose from and 24-hour customer support. Newsweek calls it America's best customer service. And when you buy a pair from Coastal, you can donate a pair to someone in need in just one click at no extra cost. To date, Coastal has given more than 470,000 pairs of glasses to people in need across the world. Starting at $9, no need to get off your own couch. This is the new way to shop for glasses. And we're getting to the end of the year here, so use your FSA benefits now before they run out. Now and for a limited time, Coastal is offering 3 Martini Lunch listeners the best deal they have going anywhere, 50% off your first pair of glasses at coastal.com/martini. Get free shipping, 30-day risk-free returns, and a 50% off deal at coastal.com/martini, but only for a limited time. Spelled COASTAL.com/martini. Some restrictions apply. All right, Jim, now that we're seeing clearly, let's focus in on your second magnanimous holiday gift for a political figure.
Yeah, so I didn't want to get anything for the politicians in Pennsylvania. Listeners to this podcast, if you are in the state of Pennsylvania, I hope you had a good and enjoyable Thanksgiving weekend. But it may have been less fun than you thought it was going to be because the state decided you couldn't have alcohol after, 5 p.m. the night before Thanksgiving or something like that. It was something sort of ridiculous one. I went on at furious length about the difficulty of obtaining alcohol in the state of Pennsylvania. And so my thing I'm doing is for all of the people of Pennsylvania, Greg, I'm going to look online. I'm a big fan of old maps. I'm going to find as many old bootlegging maps that I can find from the Roaring 20s. I understand actually all of NASCAR got founded by bootlegging circuits and stuff. So chances are there are ways you can get alcohol from New Jersey, Ohio, West Virginia, Maryland, and New York, and other civilized states that allow you to buy alcohol in an easy way. We'll run it in and we will smuggle it into the state, and Pennsylvanians will be able to drink. So that's one of my big projects for 2021, Greg.
Wow, the Al Capone of the 21st century. Good work. Oh, man. Amazing, amazing. But it might be necessary in Pennsylvania. Absolutely nuts. All right, Jim, we are still counting votes, as you just mentioned, in California and New York, and the Trump campaign, of course, still taking their legal fight to the courts in a number of states. But my gift, and this is going to depress a lot of people, are Super Saver tickets to Iowa and New Hampshire for the 2024 crop of candidates, because guess what? Joe Biden just turned 78 years old. He'll be 82 come November of 2024. It had already been rumored once in this campaign, perhaps more than once, that he was going to be a one-term candidate. That might make Kamala Harris kind of the prohibitive favorite, but I'm not sure they're just going to hand it to her just because she's the sitting vice president. I'm sure the illustrious Andrew Cuomo and a lot of other prominent Democrats are going to want their shot at winning the White House. And of course, you're going to have a full crop of Republicans, probably. President Trump has allegedly talked about running again. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But I think Tom Cotton is clearly running. Rick Scott was running ads at one point for 2024. And I'm sure some of the others maybe that we saw in 2016 from that crowded field. I don't know if Jim Gilmore will be back or not, Jim, but there's going to be a lot of people. And when you know you've likely got a one-term president, those visits to Iowa, New Hampshire are going to be coming fast and furious, and probably even before the midterms. And so if not the Super Saver tickets, maybe some gift certificates to Holiday Inn Expresses or local eating establishments, assuming they're actually allowed to serve people. So get ready for 2024. It's not even 2021.
This is where I should be, Greg, but I'm just feeling you can't see the existential dread on my face.
We are living in difficult times where people fear having thought-provoking conversations about pressing issues. And although we're in the midst of an information explosion, there are a lot of forces aiming to distort what's true. I created the Bill Walton Show to provide a forum for in-depth, thought-provoking conversations with leaders, artists, entrepreneurs, and thinkers. Please join me at thebillwaltonshow.com to explore what's true, what's right, and what's next.
Greg, my last Black Friday purchase of the day is indeed going to lawyers who are no longer formally affiliated with the Trump legal team, at least as of this recording, Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell. I've been kind of critical of them since they began their efforts, but I've decided to, it's water under the bridge. Let's let bygones be bygones. And I'm getting both of them, Greg. I think it's very special. The complete X-Files series on DVD. Not because it's a great show and it still holds up and I enjoyed it back then, mostly for research purposes. I think that for all of their conspiracy theories, this is, the sort of stuff they'll find useful. Cigarette smoking man, the black oil, the shape-shifting aliens, it's all in there and helps explain how the Venezuelan hackers altered the votes from Trump to Biden.
Well, the concern is ongoing about illegal aliens voting. And
there you go. And we didn't specify which aliens. Yes, There
you go. So we'll see how all of that plays out. Jim, the big story this year, of course, has been the coronavirus. The scramble to find a vaccine, which appears to have been successful in, if not record time, pretty darn close to it. And the focus to make sure that we're ready for the next pandemic. But, the next threat on this level is not going to be in the exact same way that it materialized this time. It could be weaponized. It could be targeted towards a specific group of people. I know you have no idea where I'm going with this, but you have to be ready for the next national security threat from a biological terrorism perspective. And I'm not going to give away any more of the plot, but for the current and perhaps incoming national security leaders, I'm giving a copy of Hunting for Horsemen, a dangerous click novel from Jim Garrity, as he weaves the story of how in the aftermath of COVID, really nefarious actors could try to figure out a way to launch a biological weapon that specifically targets specific people. So I'm not going to give away more than that. It's a great read. And so I encourage everyone to get it, but I'm going to give it to the people who could actually put that on the radar.
Oh, actually, well, thank you, Greg. Thank you for plugging it so that I don't have to. I'll just add one note specifically for our listeners. I'm hoping everyone enjoys this book. So far, the early feedback has been very good. People find the concept frightening. They're impressed with the research. As you can probably guess from this podcast, we like to laugh. I try to make it funny. There's a lot of one-liners and sarcasm and random asides, like the fact that ISIS followed the instructions about avoiding, about honoring the quarantine, but Chris Cuomo didn't. Little things like that you're just not going to find in. Brad Thor is really good. You're just not going to see those little snarky remarks in there. But I will just point out, if you listen to this podcast regularly or even not so regularly, as we get to those closing chapters, you're going to laugh really, really hard. And what it is because a lot of people are like, oh, that's pretty funny. And you, the listeners of this podcast, you're going to recognize things. You're going to see references. You're like, oh, I know what Jim's talking about with that. Oh, I get that in joke. You will enjoy this on a completely different, separate level. So if you can find time and the couple of bucks to put it on your Kindle or order on paperback from Amazon, please do. I think you'll enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. And I think we all could use some some smiles and laughs these days.
Fantastic. Again, hunting for Horsemen. Good luck to everyone shopping out there. I'm guessing online will be even more popular than usual this year. But if you're braving the hordes out there this year to try to get those Black Friday deals, Godspeed to you as well. And I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas a month in advance. We'll talk about that, obviously, as we get closer. But Jim, happy Black Friday. We'll talk to you again on Monday when we're back to our usual format.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Jim Garrity, National Review, and the author of Hunting for Horsemen. I'm Greg Corombos of Radio America. Thanks for being with us today. Please do subscribe to the 3 Martini Lunch podcast. We're always extremely grateful for your 5-star ratings and your kind reviews. Remember, you can get us on those government surveillance devices. All you have to say is play 3 Martini Lunch podcast. Have a great rest of your Thanksgiving holiday weekend, and join us again on Monday for the next 3 Martini Lunch.